Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. My name is Junior. Today we're going to take a look at the second part of the SSR Justice Knight 1/6 scale. This is the Batman from the Alex Ross version from his Justice comic book, I believe. This is SSC013, and I've already taken out of the brown box, so we'll just basically see what's going on once I lift the top. Here's the side, by the way. Is there anything in the back? That's basically it. All right, so there's the figure. Is this the same as it was with the Superman where it was all foam? I can't remember. And then here are the accessories. Let me take them out of the box and we'll take a look at some interesting figures. So before I take out Batman out of the packaging, check this out. His foot is actually off again, which is exactly what happened with the Superman. They're both off. SSR, you guys. I mean, I'm not completely upset because I know from the Superman figure that it should be okay as long as you have to push the foot in to make sure it's secure. Okay, so you go ahead and do that now. And what I mean, you have to push it in. You have to make sure it's pushed in really good. Notice how I'm holding it. I'm basically bracing it to the back of the knee, and that's basically where my whole pressure is for this leg. Also, and I'm kind of jumping in and out here and everything, but one other difference from the Superman figure is you'll notice you're seeing the pegs on the Superman. The way they did it is like they're actually all the way up here, this whole thing. Let me grab Superman over here. So this is SSC013 and Superman is SSC014. So I don't know if the change occurs after Batman and they said, oh, you know, we can make that better by doing this, this, and this. Here's Superman over here. In fact, with Superman, I'm almost irritated because of how tight it is in here. Because it's like really long, but I like it that way because you're not seeing the ball peg. See? But admittedly, that might be a little bit too long. So maybe this could be pulled out a little bit better. Because this is a situation similar to the ankle where like a black sock would really go a long way. Just to continue hiding it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a proper review of, we'll start first with the accessories. This is exactly the same as Superman's. That's kind of nice, very uniform between the two, except for the Batman plaque over here. It's not a separate piece, it's actually into the base, and this is just printed on SSR in the back. And just like with Superman, you just plug it in And then you have this system. What I've noticed with the Superman, this is really loose, and it does not hold the weight of the figure if you're using it as a flight stand. It comes with this batarang in gunmetal gray colors. It's very simple. There's no other detail except for the bat symbol. You can put it on this hand over here. You can see the stitching here in the gloves. So well done. You can even see the stitching here going across. And fits there. Now the counter part of this hand is this hand over here, which I suppose could be holding something, like maybe a baton or some sort of stick. But that's not included. Nothing like that is included in here. Also comes with these goggles, which I almost missed because it's so small. This is stretchable, so that's good. It comes with a pair of loose hands, and if you notice with these hands, the fingers kind of look beefy and chunky, which kind of makes sense because with gloves on your hands, it will make them more rounded and more beefy looking than seeing the regular hands. And surprisingly, it comes with these hands that could be like gun holding hands with trigger hands. And yet again, we didn't really get any kind of equipment like a bat gun or grapple gun or anything like that. This is all. I wouldn't know what to use this for. And there it is. That looks really, really good. That looks just like the Alex Ross Batman. Those eyes, I don't know why, my imagination maybe, but it seems like it tends to follow you around. You can see the texturing on this. It's really well done. We no longer have that issue with mismatching colors on the the neck and the head, since it's part of the cowl. Some sort of sculpting done here at the base of the cowl. Very nice points. The points are slightly rubbery, so that's good. It won't break off or anything like that. The bottom of the nose, as you can see, is exposed. The only thing is the nostrils are not painted darker, so that's kind of off. Other than that though, I think the paint application of this is excellent. And then the sculpting, that chin, this part of the cheek, that's like perfect. Look at that. Alright, now as you can see, the emblem of the bat on the chest is slightly covered up by the length of this neck piece. So that's probably just on my copy. I would prefer it like maybe around here. So I might have to mess around with this a little bit to bring it down. Ooh, look at that. It exposed the top, which is not sewn or anything like that. Interesting. I'm also noticing some sort of sparkly thing here. Let me close that up again. So if you look at my bat sample, there's some sort of reflection going on. So it's possible that this might be suffering the same exact thing with the Superman emblem, where part of the foam had gotten loose and maybe stuck to the emblem. I'm not going to fix it on camera right now because you know the technique on the Superman that I did. And because it's black, you really don't notice it. I only notice it because of the reflection going on, which I knew happened with the Superman. So in order to fix that, I'll just use the tape fix again. You can see it on my Superman review if you care to look. Stitching is nice and tight, nothing loose, it's all uniform, so that's good. There's the gauntlet over here with the closed fisted hands. And then I wanted to here's the cape, and I want to point out that the texturing on the gauntlet is well done to the point where it almost matches the texturing in the back of the cape. That's amazing. And then that's classic Alex Ross Batman. Here's the belt, nice and gold, and it's loose, so it's not gonna hinder you in any way. You have the freedom to move it around, center it, move it up, move it down, whichever one you prefer. Be very careful though, because this is plastic and painted plastic, that you don't rub it too much against the fabric. It's a very basic design, but it's very, very true to the design of Alex Ross's Batman. Now, one note I wanted to say, it's just one piece over here. So the way, okay, and there's the back. Very simple, nothing much going on in there. And that's how you expose the flesh colored joint, which will have to be remedied with some sort of black sock that I'll have to make, which is unfortunate I have to make that, but I feel like maybe SSR should have done that, but it is what it is. Same thing with the wrist situation. All right, let's take a look really quickly at the articulation of the Batman. This is going to be very, very similar to the Superman one. However, I don't really remember how much in depth I went to the Superman one, so we'll go a little bit more thoroughly on this one. The head can turn obviously all around, but look at that. The way it moves like that, so natural, right? If you wanted to move up, that's as high as you can get the head looking up and the head looking down, which I'm fine with. And because this has this plastic cowl here, we don't have the same issue with Superman where the neck has a different color and this part it does not look correctly. Let me bring out the Superman really quick. So as you can see with Superman, you get this gap going on that really just kind of jars the suspension of belief. I've already mentioned the bat symbol. As you can see now, it's in a little bit better position. I'm just gonna keep on messing around with it because I do want it slightly lower, but still centered. The articulation at the shoulder, let's do up to slightly over 90, as you can see. Of course, it's kind of unsightly that this is kind of bulging out a little bit, but that's the way it is. It does have a bicep swivel, as you can see. The shoulder can move easily like that. Anymore, then you just kind of, I really don't push it like that. I think this is good of a range. Look, straight up. And then if I really want to, then I can go the other way. Just be careful you're not pinching the fabric and rip it. For the elbow, can go straight, which is good. I know it's like straight, of course it does that, but not all figures will do that. And double jointed on the elbows, you can see. that can only go slightly over 90. And you can see how easy I can move the bicep. So it's tight, but not satisfyingly tight. It's almost too loose. Of course, this is separate, free floating. The arm or the hand, obviously, you can move it around as a ball peg joint. I want to point a sense of quality control, again going back to the emblem, which I just noticed in this corner. I think that might be a glue residue right here. And that's the only one. Now, I know one customer had a complaint with the Superman words. The emblem is lifting. But look, I'm zooming in on this one to even kind of note this. And I think it's lifting a little bit, but I'm not sure. But for sure, I think that's some sort of glue residue at the edge. But is it a point of complaint for me? Like, probably if I'm looking at it like this close, it's definitely visible. But looking at it, looking at it this way, you don't see it. Now, it's going to be a trade-off whether you want this emblem secure and attached to the fabric, or how well you want that glue in. I feel like it's good because I don't think it's lifting, though you do see a shadow here, so I don't know, or if that's glue residue. It feels like it's even in. See, that's me trying to close in as much as I can. Yeah, like this emblem, you gotta, there's like sharp points in it. I think they did a good enough job securing it to the fabric. Will it lift eventually? I don't know. It's a possibility, but like, I'm not worrying about that because I don't know. I really don't. All right, we were talking about articulation. All right, we were talking about articulation, so let's continue on. It's a little bit more stiff than the other side. It does have a cut here at the diaphragm. You can see it moving while the abs are staying in place. That's the max. That's not the max. I can go further, but I don't know how this thing is made, so I don't want to push it. And I don't know why I would want to, because a regular person can't do that kind of pose anyway. There's a side tilt. Side tilt. It's all occurring a lot from this one. So I can't, because this is the Batman, the belt's in the way. I'm assuming this is the same figure as Superman, so as you can see, it does have a waist cut, so I'm assuming Batman has it too, but it just tends to move the movement here rather than the actual abs, and that's what I'm noticing with Batman as well. The legs can go sideways well, up to 90 degrees. Forward, slightly below 90, maybe 5 degrees down or 5 degrees less. Backwards, not a lot. What is that? 5 degrees. Here's natural. Here's natural stance. And that's moving backwards. So what? 5 degrees? 0 degrees? I don't know. Let me do that again. Here's the natural stance, I think. And move it forward like that, maybe 5 degrees. The knees, I can tell it's double jointed, so one here at the top, more at the bottom to accomplish that range. The boot is loose, so you can move it around if you want to. One thing I didn't note on the Superman one, which I noted later on, is there's no thigh cuts in here. So when you're talking about a leg twist, there is a little bit, as you can see. So to further emphasize, I'm gonna bend the knee, and you can go that much out, but you can only go that much out. Okay. Ankle articulation can go down pretty well, just need to cover it up. Again, I mentioned that. Pretty well going up. And of course you have, oh, it popped off. So it's not super secure. You just like twist it around like so, and the more you move this around, the more that will come out. And of course the ankle rocker depends on how your hinge is oriented. Like this one can go this much and that, so obviously it won't have an ankle rocker. If you want an ankle rocker, you have to figure out, like, twist this like this and twist it, then you have the ankle rocker. Okay, the more extreme that you put a more extreme of an angle that you put on this ankle, the more you're pulling it out of the peg to the point where it will come off naturally. See, that's because it's a ball peg over here. If this had been like a post, then maybe it wouldn't do that so much. And just push it in. If you push it in tight like that, then your ankle articulation becomes limited to that much down and that much up. So there you go. So how good does the Batman look? There he is on a natural stance, hands on the side to the closest you can to the body, natural stance on the leg. This is basically the brightest light that I have on him, and I think it looks really good. How does it look compared side by side with Superman? Well, they're using the same body, so you kind of know exactly how they look. They're basically almost like identical in terms of the body. There he is in just one spotlight with my primary light turned off. All right, so let's mess around with this guy, still using the extreme harsh light just on top. Like basically you're encountering Batman on a dark alleyway. I still want this a little bit down. Can we pose him with, what does it look like when his cape is down? So you can do that if you want. There is a little bit of lift occurring on the cape because the way it's done. Man, look at that. Let me switch the camera angle a little bit. Hey, look, up in the sky. Yeah, there you go. Batman looking up in the night sky, seeing a flying figure up in Gotham skies. I don't think he's very happy. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this poses very well. I mean, I'm not a good poser. Other people out there can put this into better lighting, but this is, for me, like an iconic. It's just so simple compared to, I mean, like he literally is at home in the dark. There he is with his partner. Wow. Like because of how the cape is draping the shoulders, I feel like that's a better position because then you're hiding how wide the shoulders are, and it differentiates his body physique compared to the Superman figure. So it gives you a little bit of variety between the two. You know it's the same body, but because the cape is hiding a lot of it, it's well done. There I am utilizing the range of articulation. Again, it plays very, very well in the shadows. Very well in the shadows. I dare say I am more satisfied with this than I am with Superman. One last shot in the dark. That must have been what Batman was thinking when he tried to gut punch Superman, and he basically hit a brick wall. Actually, he would have a better chance of destroying a brick wall than hurting Superman this way. Yep, one last shot. All right, so there's my review of SSR013 scale Batman from Justice based on Alex Ross's illustration. For those who might not be familiar with how I value things, I usually say base price of 10 equaling to the dollar amount of the figure that I paid for as the base, and then the value. If I'm happy with the figure, I got exactly what I want, it's 10. Usually if I'm very satisfied with the figure, I usually value figures at 12, and then I just add points to it as I go along. The maximum one I've had is around 20, which I think is fairly high, because 20 is something that's so perfect that I'm so excited for, and I would be buying multiples of, and I would say if you cannot miss it, that's a 20. But it does not apply to these figures. Those usually apply to maybe a 3 3/4 scale, a 6-inch scale, or something like that. For these figures, for me to value them at 15 is extremely high. Like, you cannot miss it. So just to let you guys know, total price is 170. So the value for this one, this is kind of interesting. I know it's not going to be 12, easily 13, yes, 14. Is it a 15? Is it a 15? I don't, and this value evaluation is completely independent of Superman because I don't remember what I gave Superman. I'm gonna give it a 15. Like I said, I don't know what I evaluated Superman is, but it does not have the neck to face flesh tone issue because, of course, the cowl as being part of it, so it's completely hidden. I didn't have to deal with the issue of the emblem, but then again, that was a 5-minute fix that I was able to fix easily. The belt, but that's basically based on Alex Ross's design. It's big, it's wide, it's very, very iconic, very, very true to his design. Compared to the Superman one here, this is plastic, but this is fabric, so it looks a little bit cheap compared to Batman's. The body style, obviously, it's perfect. The cape hides very well the broadness of the shoulders, so that's really good. I think it's 15. It's almost, I mean, you need to get it if you're a fan of Alex Ross's Batman. You just need to get it. There are some limitations on the articulation, which is so minimal. I really don't recognize it. The use of the joints for the ankles is a little bit more tricky because you need to orient where the peg is coming from. The only thing that might bump it down a point, but I still regard it as 15 in terms of value, is the use of the fabric. Now, I only mentioned that, I've mentioned that in the Superman one because the fabric seems slightly thin to me, and it seems to be the type of fabric that might snag on your fingernail, or you know, if you have bad nails like cracking nails or anything like that, it might snag. So be very, very careful on that. It still remains true for the Batman figure. And let me go and do some close-ups really quickly of certain parts that I'm noticing. So this part right here stands out to me because everything else is nice and smooth except there's a small thing going on here, and I can almost tell, and then there's another one here, like some sort of foots or inconsistency in the surface of the fabric, that I believe that is it's not dirt. I believe that is the beginning of fabric pull. And I only mention that because on the inner thigh of the figure, as you can see, everything's nice and clean on that one, but then you start seeing, wait, what's that line right there? That's not a wrinkle, that's another part of a fabric pull as well. It's very minimal. I'm just pointing it out only as a warning that it is that type of fabric. Not as bad as the Hot Toys 1966 Batman was, I feel. Maybe it could be because mine never really snagged, so I never really encountered that issue. But it's a possibility that I just want to point out to you guys. I also want to point out that these are very dense, heavy bodies. And it doesn't help that the ankles are not loose but weak. It can stand, as you can see, and with the stand you can also pose it, but I want to point something out, how easily the ankles can fold. See, there's just no strength to it, so you need to be balancing it really well. This one's starting to become loose anyway, and what I fear is that eventually, as I keep pushing this on more and keep creating more friction against the ball peg and the socket, that eventually it will start to loosen up again. I believe one of the fixes for that is applying nail polish on the inside of the ball joint, and that creates enough surface friction or surface tension to make it a little bit more tougher. But yeah, as it is, I'm very, very happy. It's a $170 figure. To be able to purchase an almost perfect Batman representation of Alex. Oh man, you just saw that on camera, huh? And all right, you just saw him fall. I'm gonna add it in, and leave it there, just to show you it's got to be almost perfectly balanced. It's just those weak ankles. Now I'm like, maybe I should deduct the point from that 15 because of that, and I'm not. I'm gonna keep it the way it is because it's really, maybe for Superman I might deduct the point, but for the Batman it's just like, it's like almost perfect the way it is. Anyway, that's it for my review of SSR's 1/6 scale Batman from Justice by the illustrator Alex Ross. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys found it informative and enjoyable. I'll see you in the next review. Bye.